From 160 Studios in Delray Beach, I've got two guests with me today that we're going to be chatting about some fun, dynamic, and important happenings in the medtech scene. So Kwame, welcome again, my friend, from MedTech Color. How are you?
Joe, I'm doing great this lovely morning. It's great to see you again.
Always, my friend. And Hafeezah Mohammed, who is the CEO and founder of Backpack Healthcare, formerly known as Me Healthcare. And Hafeezah, thanks for making it this morning. You shared with Kwame and I a pretty challenging morning to get started, but here we are on time, so thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and congratulations. We'll get to you as your accomplishments as part of MedTech Color's pitch program as the winner of the third annual. So congrats there.
Thank you. Very excited. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm very grateful for the MedTech Color pitch competition.
And Kwame, share with our audience, for those that don't know, about the pitch competition, the genesis of it, and this is our third year coming up, and you have been incredibly generous, gracious with time, funding, as well as exposure to everybody who takes place in it.
MedTech Color really has a big, hairy, audacious goal to invest in at least 100 CEOs of color. And specifically, we do that through the pitch competition. We started 3 years ago with the goal of investing in at least 10 companies that are managed and controlled by African Americans or Latinos. And we've done that every year. We're totaling nearly $1 million in capital and in-kind services from great organizations like TMG, Johnson & Johnson MedTech, ResMed. We've recently renewed a partnership with the NSF and NIH. So it's an ecosystem-wide program where we get approximately 100 applications, whittle it down to 10, and they get access to not only cash, but tier one accelerators like MedTech Innovator and corporate accelerators like ResMed's Founder Residence Program. So that's the pitch competition in a nutshell.
And this year's recipient, Hafeezah with Backpack Healthcare, again, previously known as Me Healthcare, for those that are going to be fact-checking this session together, as well as it should. But Hafeezah, tell me about what your experience was through the competition, what was unique about it, and what you would share with others who might not know about it, and they should.
My experience with this competition was incredible. It started before the actual pitch day. There was more like an accelerator type where there was training, there were speakers to help prepare us, to help grow our business and help make our business more marketable and more stronger, which was very exciting for me to get those key learnings. And then as we went into the competition, when I looked around the room and I saw the 9 other individuals I was competing with, I was like, wow, this is top of the line quality candidates. And I said, I'm going to give it my best, but no matter what, even if I don't win, I will be grateful to anyone that won that competition because of the caliber and the quality of talent that was there. The caliber and quality of the talent was so incredible that I actually learned a lot from my cohort. Things around submitting for FDA, some of the challenges that they were solving, and it gave me ideas on how to make my business better and stronger. And what I would like individuals to know about this program who are thinking about it is that it's a great stepping stone to anything incredible within your company. The diversity of being around other founders that look like you is really remarkable because you no longer feel alone, where you're usually the only person in a room that looks like you, but kind of having that community, it makes you feel stronger that you can conquer the world. And as I follow my cohort since the pitch competition, I've seen that so many of us have went on to different stages, have done incredible things, have raised additional capital, but having that strength together is what made a difference, that you're no longer alone. And somewhere like MedTech Color, bringing all their resources together to support us was just absolutely remarkable.
And you know, as Kwame pointed out, checks are always important. That's sort of our oxygen, you know, the first go-to. But on top of that is the guidance, the insight, the mentoring, the coaching, the partnerships that emerged from that. Also, second place this past year was June Brain with Samantha Scott, and third place was Navigate Maternity with Ariana McGee. So you've got, I'm familiar with both. You've got some really good peers slash competitors in that space as you continue to move down the pathway of success for the organization. So for our viewers, tell us a little bit about Backpack Healthcare. What was the impetus for it? Why does it exist? And what and who potentially does it serve?
So I'm gonna tell a little bit story, a very personal story, and why I started this company. But I'll take a little bit of a step back in regards to where I came from to be able to allow me to go on this path. I was an executive for a large mental health company called ThriveWorks. They were one of the largest operating in close to 50 states. And while I was working there, my son, who was 6 at the time, came to me and said, "Mommy, I feel like I want to kill myself." My heart broke. I didn't see it coming, and I definitely had no idea what to do next. Even though I had more than 2,000 therapists around me, my son was on Medicaid because of a disability. And as I looked at the data, I saw that there were so many kids calling in and families on Medicaid that was looking for care for their children. And knowing that pain is something that didn't want any other parent to endure, I left and I started Yumi Healthcare, which is now Backpack Healthcare. We've been in operation for 2 years, and more than half of my team actually came from me, from that company, so that we were able to hit the ground running to be able to build something so that we can help save lives. And as we continue to grow, there's been an interesting evolution in the child space. So for the first time in history this year, more than half of the children in the US identify as BIPOC, which has never happened before. And taking a look at where we build the company, where we provide services in 240 plus languages through a translation service. In addition to our app that we're launching, it's going to be launched in 7 of the top 10 languages in the world. That prepared us for what the future holds in regards to the change in dynamic. So who has access to our service? We provide equal access to all. So no matter your background, your cultural where you grew up culturally, we can be able to help serve you. And my dream is that in a world where there's so many distractions happening, I want when anyone come to Backpack that they can feel a place where they can have a sense of relief. We have group therapy sessions, and we would have individuals of moms, like we do group sessions for parents or for kids, but the socioeconomic dimensions are so incredible that you can have a mom who is from a low income community, and you have a mom who's an executive within the same family group, right? But one thing they have in common is pain, because of when your child is suffering, that's a pain that no parent, no matter who you are, is the greatest equalizer in society, is when your child suffers. And I'm really proud of the work that we're doing and who we're continue to serve. And anyone is welcome at Backpack.
Wow, that's a powerful statement, especially when it happened in your own home. You know, we see that that ends up being a catalyst for a lot of founders of technologies and medtech in general. Either an aunt or a grandmother or a sibling had acquired a disease and had some, sort of intervention of sorts, either episodic, surgical, or whatever. But here, to have a child come to you and, share how they're feeling, and then have at least a facilitator who can work through that on the behavioral health side. Questions on the behavioral health side. It's become empowered through telehealth, certainly, and unfortunately accelerated through the pandemic, where children especially, as well as adults, but young children who are still in the formative side of their brains and their emotions have been impacted dramatically. What have you learned that the public might not understand that has occurred, especially since 2020 to where we are today?
One thing I want the public to know is that you no longer have to suffer in silence. I realize that a lot of families don't know what's happening with their kids, and that's completely normal. Kids are the best at hiding their emotions. And what I want the public to know is to always assume that your child is suffering, because you never know what they're going through. Their friends know that they're suffering, but you will never know as a parent. And it's not your fault. Sometimes as parents, you feel guilty, like myself, about what did I do wrong? And it's nothing that you did. Your child could have the best resources. My child had incredible resources. They could have less resources, but every child goes through the same developmental cycle, whether they live in the US, whether they live in Japan, whether they live in South America, in Africa, is the same level of development every child goes through. So it's not you. And I want the public to know that never be afraid to check in on your kids and ask a simple question and be ready to hear the response. Have you ever thought about harming yourself or killing yourself, right? And you'll be surprised that just by making that statement very direct, they will say yes.
Mm.
And for you to make sure you get the resources, but you never have to be afraid to ask, because the last thing you want, which is the most extreme circumstance that could happen, is that they attempt to take their life, and that's when you find out that they're struggling.
Mm. So a parent who's watching this, or doesn't even have to be a parent, could be an adult who's an aunt who has, a great relationship with a child. How do I engage with Backpack? What's the first step?
So engaging in Backpack, there are three different options, but the main option is that every child can download, you can download an app from the App Store for Backpack. You can also use our web app. And we have interactive remote monitoring tools within that app. And we also have what we call bibliotherapy. It's where it's interactive, where it's using books for therapy. We digitalize the books, and we brought on incredible writers, some of our favorite shows stemming from Disney, from Nickelodeon, to combine the clinical content to make it interactive and fun. That's a way to start, because this is something that you can do anywhere, like access to therapy anywhere within your home. And as you need one-on-one therapy, once we're operating in your state, we can provide one-on-one care. But the goal is to at least make sure that your child gets assessed, so you can have a baseline of where they're at, and you can continue to check in, and we're able to provide that solution nationally and individual therapy in selected states.
So we have a very large audience who's going to be watching this, obviously potential users of the platform, investors, strategics, and even potential alliances. Tell me where we're going next with Backpack, what's happened in the recent past in regards to your growth, and if somebody wants to get involved in helping the growth of the investment and or the technology, how would they do that?
So anyone that wants to help, we welcome help from everyone. I will tell you, when in MedTech Color, we receive a lot of extra packages. So the rebranding work that was done from Yumi to Backpack was done from a package that we won from MedTech Color. Our legal that we won was done from MedTech Color. So we welcome any support from that we can get. Anyone can reach out to me via email. Of course, we can post that online to help reach out and help support in any which way that you can.
Mm-hmm. And you had mentioned, we were chatting beforehand, that you had made a recent acquisition from an area that'll help you grow. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so as we looked at the mental health crisis, looking at the cultural landscape of how children and pediatrics and how the dynamics are changing, where their BIPOC is no longer the minority, but the majority of kids in the US. We looked at multiple mental health companies to see who can help us accelerate the growth, who has a foundation that's already set that we can build on or implement and integrate. So we acquired a company called Hurdle Health, which was the first telemental health company that put a cultural intentional framework within their practice. It was developed with them alongside Johns Hopkins University, in addition to other incredible assets that we were able to acquire from them. And that acquisition allows us to enter 27 states to provide one-on-one therapy within those states. So a lot of the groundwork has been laid for us to be able to ensure that we keep the multicultural framework alive and growing and well, as we build and grow. So I'm very grateful for that team, because they definitely put a lot of work into building something that's incredible. And the beautiful thing about it is that they build it for Backpack, right? And it's like, even though they built it for Backpack, because who would have known when they started 5 years ago that the first time in history, more than half of the kids in the US are from a multicultural family.
Wow, that's a stat I was not aware of. Kwame, as you provide these opportunities for these entrepreneurs, tell me what goes through your mind as you watch those 10 finalists get up and do their pitch, and the sense of fulfillment that you and your team get year after year with this.
So I just know deep down that we are playing a role in providing access to more patients for high quality solutions. The wonderful thing about Hafeezah's company in particular, unlike many of our contestants, participants, members of our community now, she's in revenue, she's serving patients. So we can point to how we supported a company that's actively supporting teens in crisis, and that it's beyond heartwarming. It is exactly why we started MedTech Color. And I'll just put a little more color on it, Joe. We've been able to facilitate Hafeezah getting a speaking role at LSI, a tier 1 conference that you're familiar with. She's entered into TechStars because of a relationship we have with TechStars. She's going to be a keynote speaker at MedTech Vision. And this is exactly the role MedTech Color wants to play, to provide access to great CEOs and great companies to accelerate their growth. So don't get me started, Joe. That's exactly why we do it.
And what
And I want to
go ahead, Hafeezah.
I want to chime in, right? I want everyone to know this is that for a company that was, delivering revenue since MedTech Color, our revenue has doubled, our run rate has doubled. So we're crossed over $1 million, close to $1.5 million in run rate. And that's because of the support, that extra capital we can fuel within the company to help fuel our growth. So I just wanted to pinpoint that is that it helped us almost double our revenue, because it was at that point where we were putting like the gasoline on the fire and we just needed to have that match to light it, to make it explode. And that's what happened with MedTech Color.
And I love us focusing and highlighting that, Kwame. I think it's helpful for the community that it doesn't always have to be that early stage angel round. We're at proof of concept looking for support. These are thriving organizations that then can get further exposure, obviously, financing potentially, and just get into MedTech Color's high leveraged relationship building with organizations like LSI and others that just become an on-ramp to the community.
Absolutely. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention great work Matt does, where he has an open Ask Me Anything session with the CEOs from our top 10. So they can have a private cry session or mentoring session and talk about any topic they want to with the member of TMG's great executive leadership.
Yeah.
So we're winning. We're winning because of these relationships.
I love that. I love that. So Kwame, as we wrap up, tell me about the upcoming pitch competition, what the dates are, and then anybody that wants to take part in it and try and get on that final 10 coveted stage, what's their pathway?
So we're going to open up applications early in August. So you can look out for that announcement in mid to late August on our website. You can simply go to medtechcolor.org. And then we'll also announce the exact date of our pitch competition. It is either the last week in February or the first week in March. What we're going to do differently this year, and Hafeezah will probably say, dang, I wish you did it our year. We're going to give you advance notice because we're going to invite the top 10 to fly in and let them know the dates for the accelerator earlier this year. And the application window, we're going to make it longer. So we'll have more time to learn about more great companies like Backpack.
Okay. And Kwame, for those that are not already partners with MedTech Color, where should they go to find that communication? To the MedTech Color webpage, reach out to your personal cell phone?
You can text me, Joe. I don't know about what everybody texts me. They could go to our website, but they also can attend our networking breakfast. We expect over 400 participants. Our keynote speaker is a senior vice president from Edwards Life Sciences. Last year, we had a speaker from Johnson & Johnson MedTech. And in previous years, we've had the actual CEO of Medtronic speak. and hopefully, Joe, you'll be there this year as
Always,
well.
always.
So that's a great opportunity to really see us in action and really get a sense of the community that we built.
Agree. Well, Kwame, Hafeezah, thank you so much for sharing the story. MedTech Color is a great organization. If you are not a member of MedTech Color, I strongly suggest you explore and investigate. And wishing you all well with the annual pitch competition coming up. And Hafeezah, keep doing the very important, great work you are.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Be well, Hafeezah. Kwame, my friend, I'll speak to you soon.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm Joe Mullings from 160 Studios. Be well.